What is up, all you gamers? Hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the Razer Recap. You know, it's always better when Hunter's not here because we can just talk, sit back and have some nice conversation about all the gaming stories. So I hope you guys all enjoy. It's going to be me and Pete behind the camera as per usual. You ready, Pete?
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. And a brand new Warzone map. We got brand new complaints out there. I'm sure a lot of you guys watching have experienced the brand new Warzone map, and we have seen players, well, kind of have a little bit of rift between them. We've seen so many Warzone top names. I would name Huskers and Aydan having initial complaints, but then we have the opposite side of people like Iceman Isaac, saying, hey, this is a great game. We've seen, though, a lot of different opinions, especially when you bring in streamers versus pro players, of whether or not this map is going to be an improvement from the good old Verdansk.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of guys out there. Like Dr Disrespect has done the classic Doc and already threatened to uninstall the game.
Been shot from somebody behind me in the gas. I almost want to uninstall the game. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at, man.
Oh no!
Holy shit!
Within hours.
Within hours of the game starting. You've got Z-Laner and Nick Merckx out there complaining about the massive recoil on a lot of this ground loot.
I think Swag had some 2 cents
Swag
on
had
that
the
too.
same. Yeah, that was the clip they used. Was Swag literally picked up a gun and shot it, and the gun was like, it was all over the screen. It was impossible to track.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was because I was watching Tim. It just was. He was just bad.
Oh.
But then you switch to other streamers and you realize, okay,
It's not just Tim being bad. It's a major problem. And poor Tim, just sitting there, just watching a man who started the day really happy and really excited, just slowly get more and more depressed as he was just sitting there with his head in his hands for part of it, talking to Cloakzy, just being like, man, Clocky, do I just have to run up hills this whole time? Am I just running up hills forever?
I will say, quick side note, the viewership that Tim and Doc are able to still pull is incredible. Along with that, though, I remember at one point, I believe their vehicle exploded. I think it was actually shot by a plane, and their game crashed. And I just saw Tim look down, and I was like, all right, it's going to be a battle for Twitter today. We have seen a lot of back and forth. I think the initial response was certainly all negative. I think we've seen a bit of fight back, though, as the day progressed. And, of course, as we go on the day of us recording, I think people are realizing, okay, maybe we're all a bit too quick to judge. We had a lot of high expectations for Warzone, just like the Fortnite people did entering season 2, and they all had change. They all expected that big change. So I think nowadays expectations are so high. We will keep you all posted on what those updates are going to be, but it seems right now there's a big old rift in the Warzone community about Caldera. Is it good or is it bad? Certainly one of the juicier topics out there that I think is maybe going to continue. We've talked about this now twice. It was a very, very weird circumstance with Doc and the Esports Awards. If you guys somehow missed it, he and his team did win Production Creative Team of the Year, which was awesome. And it was actually for his nomination for Streamer of the Year. Pete, you and me watched it, the full 60 seconds.
Imagine winning something at the Esports Awards. Couldn't be me.
Could not be any of us, but hey, a nomination is always a great thing, especially for like smaller guys like us.
No,
but,
it was great. But yeah, Doc had a rough time.
Yeah, so for Streamer of the Year, if you guys missed this, I'll tweet it out eventually, the full clip where they show and you hear every other streamer who is nominated for Streamer of the Year except for the Doc. And it was so oddly obvious. A lot of fans were outraged about this. We now have a response from Doc where he calls him out in classic Doc fashion. As you said for our previous story, he doesn't just call him out. He goes, I don't want anything to do with Esports Awards now.
Esports Awards? Why would I get Esports Awards? Listen, I'm not going to... we had a good run with Esports Awards. After this last one, at this point, just don't even mention the Doc, okay? Don't even throw me up on any social medias. Don't do anything, right? The first year, not dropping me completely. And then this year, that little... Just don't even involve me whatsoever.
2 years ago when he got his Twitch ban, they didn't even put him in the category. And then this year, to be there and to have his team win stuff, and then to just never see him, you don't show him at the event, you don't show him when he's doing his little B-roll clip when they're showing like Streamer of the Year stuff, and it's really noticeable when you put him right after Courage. So you have like the loudest streamer in the world, and then it's just dead silence for Doc's little clip of him like doing like one random snipe in Warzone.
And then they play several other streamers where you hear their voice and you see their face.
Oh, the next one was a buy. So it went from like the first loudest streamer to the second loudest streamer.
Yeah, and then you have a gap in between there. But also, it's just crazy to think that, I mean, if you guys remember way back in the day after his ban, it was the Esports Awards who rebranded at one point their Twitter account to that whole Doc thing. And it was a hoax. It was just trying to get social media attention. it was not actually affiliated with Doc. And so, of course, he was permanently taken out of the awards when his ban was first issued. Then they used him for some marketing here and there. And then they don't show or you can't hear him. But you do understand the flip side. Esports awards don't want to risk a Twitch ban for one single personality. So there's obvious reasons. It makes you wonder who was the person who told Esports awards, hey, there's no exception here. You can't even play the Doc for a second.
Yeah, and that feels like where most of the anger is directed, not towards the Esports awards, although Doc obviously directed some towards them, but the fans, like the Champs Club, Champions Club is a lot more upset with Twitch because this feels like a Twitch move where Twitch said, hey, are you going to stream the awards on us? Oh, you are? Well, cool. You're not showing a second of Doc.
Yeah.
And that's where kind of all the anger has been lining up right now. Is a lot of it's towards, Twitch and like Twitch doing this kind of big power move. But now the Esports Awards are caught in this rough place where they're taking some friendly fire from the Doc.
Yes, Doc has now called out the Esports Awards. Who is he going to call out next? This next one's definitely a great discussion, and a bit of bait here and there.
Go away, baiting.
We got two big names, and Nadeshot very outspoken in a recent podcast, the Courage and Nadeshot show with Envoy, which I thought was really cool because what they titled around was the question we are talking around, which is the worst thing about teaming with Scump. And Nadeshot did not hold back about this. He actually talks about the worst thing about teaming with any pro player is potentially the attitudes that come with those players. So obviously, Nadeshot and Scump are friends. The same question was actually asked to Envoy, and he went really, really light. He was very polite and sweet about it and doesn't really name anything bad about teaming with Scump. Nadeshot, though, not holding back and saying, kind of teaming with a guy who it's all about his kills. That's the kind of ego you have to have as a pro player. But playing with that kind of player is also a very tough thing, a very tough situation.
I would say the worst part about Seth was everything was black and white to him. So if the team played poorly, all he cared about is whether he did well, and if he did well, it wasn't his fault. It was never like a team effort to get better, just because everything to him is black and white, X's and O's.
And it's like that's a really taxing mentality to play with because you feel like you're always getting blamed for something one way or the other. But also he immediately points out, like, listen, that's not just Scump. That's almost every good player.
Yeah.
Because your career in Call of Duty can be so short. You have to always be looking out for your paycheck. You got to keep your job security. You might be in the league 1 year, out of it the next year. You might not make it a few weeks. We saw that in CDL all last season. Guys bouncing up and down from challengers and back to the league. So, you got to make the most of your time in the spotlight. And sometimes that means getting a big ego when you're in there in the trenches.
Yeah, you respect the honesty. He does obviously kind of walk it back a little bit to say, hey, like no hard feelings. Everyone's going to be like that.
They're obviously still boys.
I mean, you got to realize what we're talking about here is you are talking about the top 0.001% of Call of Duty players out there, and only 48 plus some subs get a shot to actually play at a level where it's sustainable and you can actually make a living for. Like you said, it could be
43 if they never sell that NRG spot.
True. I mean, it could be literally, it could be a 2-week career. We've talked about 2-week contracts. It could be a 1 season and the guys don't want to play with you anymore. You made league minimum for a year. Congratulations. You're better off probably working a regular job. So when you get to that kind of level, there's going to be egos, there's going to be attitude checks, and there's going to be these kind of problems, especially when you're as tenured as Nadeshot or someone like Scump. I mean, you're bound to see these kind of things. I just thought it was interesting perspective to see Nadeshot talk about it because you've always wondered, because we're outside looking in, what it's like. And, it's probably not all sunshine and rainbows over there sometimes. But either way, Nadeshot had some words about teaming with Scump. It's a thing that we'll never get to talk about because we'll never get a team with the guy. So Nadeshot being very honest this week. This is a very much developing story because Valorant Champs ongoing has been very entertaining as Valorant events have been, because we got COVID, we got maybe some players doing some things they shouldn't do, we got Brazilian drama, we got Zoms versus Brazil. It's been an amazing event so far with some big upsets. Rest in peace to North America.
Oh, it's so sad. You hate to see it.
But it's actually Shroud saying a couple of times. I went and watched back his streams, not just once, which is the video we covered for all of you guys, where he randomly says, and this is before Sentinels were eliminated, he just brings up to his group live on stream in front of 60,000 people, what if Sentinels just disbands after Valorant Champs? To which most people, including Justin in his voice chat, were like, yeah, that sounds pretty stupid if you don't have any reasons, which he didn't present any reasons, but it seemed pretty odd for him to bring it up out of nowhere.
Yeah, but now, as things have unfolded with the death of NA and Valorant, apparently, and with with Sentinels getting out before they could even leave the group stage.
Yeah.
you've got to really consider, like, does this spell the end, at least, of this particular roster? And maybe a few minutes before we started recording this, their coach Rockus got on and was like, listen, this is nonsense.
Clip this. Keep it public. There's no roster changes. Nothing's gonna change. There's nothing needs to be changed. We made a couple ups in one match. That's it.
But we've mentioned it before. Shazam's always teased that he could probably make more money streaming.
Yes.
You've got Tens under contract for a while still, but like Zoms can be a little controversial.
And
Dapper can kind of get out of hand every now and then.
We don't know if there's going to be a ruling right now against Zoms, because I'm not saying I want that, but there are rumors of, with the Brazilian explosion, that there might be some pressure to maybe have a punishment for Zoms, which is going to, because
if you get punished for trolling, you have to disband the Sentinels, because that is like the core of the Sentinels.
Like, you imagine the headline, like, Sentinels disband after Zoms trolls, you know, like the official ruling by Riot. They won't let them play together again. But yeah, I mean, you definitely got a team full of jokesters. And I think the main thing that I'm sticking to is what we talked about before all this, and you just mentioned, Shazam has talked about potentially this being a last run. Like, he could retire and make a good amount of money streaming. We all know that. It's probably less stressful to be a Valorant streamer than it is to be a Sentinels pro player right now. You are always under fire.
And then you've got, he hasn't mentioned it, but if you've got to imagine in the back of his mind, Tens is thinking, you know, if this keeps on being this stressful, if I have all this pressure on me, I'm supposed to be like one of the Valorant goats, and then we kind of like choke a little bit at the end.
He's taken steps back before.
He's already said he's going to, it's what happened with CSGO. It's like, I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm just going to do streaming. And now, with Kaide over at 100 Thieves, you got to imagine the man could like just step back and be a 100T content creator in a matter of weeks and make crazy money.
Yeah, so I mean, that's always got to be in the back of their minds. I'm not saying I want them to. You got to realize what they have done for this scene is incredible, and they are still one of your best teams in the world, despite maybe falling a bit short here at Champs.
They also got kind of, the format of this year because of COVID was really weird. And they lost a lot of momentum because of the big gaps between events.
Yeah.
And the fact that after qualifying so early, they didn't really need to play a lot of stuff late.
No lands. And
they
they have not liked these COVID protocols so far at the events, which changes things. And this is also another event where we apparently had some issues. So either way, Shroud says Sentinels are going to disband. Will they actually is now, up in the air. Very lastly, with the announcement of the brand new Warzone map, we had a few creators out there and players get some early access. Dr Disrespect was one of them. Cloakzy, well, he actually enjoyed the day after watching some of those great videos out there, except it was live on his Twitch stream. As he was starting up stream, trying to get some heads up on what the new Caldera map had in store, he decided to open up a Dr Disrespect video live on Twitch. If you guys don't know why we're talking about this, because the last time we talked about Cloakzy, he was with Tim the Tapman in the Complexity HQ, and he said, hey chat, what if I were to just play with the doc and risk a Twitch ban and go to Bora Bora?
What if I stream, right? I stream with Doc. Z didn't get banned, right? Z didn't get banned, so I'm thinking I stream with Doc. Worst thing that happened is I get banned for like 2 weeks or a month. But then I have 2 weeks or a month off of streaming, 5head.
And now we fast forward a couple months later where he is openly watching the doc live on Twitch, and then eventually decides, oh shoot, I probably should text Twitch if I'm allowed to do this, after he's already played the freaking video.
I love that he decides to text Twitch, but in like a Galaxy Brain play, leaves the video running in the background. Like, he knows what he's doing.
He has proof. That way he's like, I texted them live.
Listen, I try. And he's texting, but while he's texting, the video is still playing on Twitch, and it's just like the latest example of Twitch streamers finding a way to get around the ban and get Doc on the platform here and there. It seems like no matter what Twitch wants to do, with guys like Cloakzy out there, with so many streamers that like miss playing with the Doc and interacting with Dr Disrespect, there's just not going to ever be a way to really keep him off that platform. And, you know, we're sitting around today, no ban for Cloakzy, no punishment. He did it again, and he's just, you know, him, this, like so many streamers have done it. Z-Laner, biggest of all, and like here we are still talking about it. It seems like Twitch just can't get control of it.
I think we know by now that watching YouTube videos should be safe ground. Cloakzy even said himself that you can watch videos that have the doc in them, but you maybe can't watch doc videos, and then he continued to play the doc video. So there's obviously not a direct maybe communication of like, here's what you can do, here's the line, blah, blah, blah. We know back in the day, they changed the rule of like, hey, you can't be in the same lobby. You cannot have him over voice. Remember when Nadeshot and Crimsix and Snoop Dogg all did it, and then Twitch kind of changed the rule under the table. So we know that you cannot be in the same tournament or same voice chat with him. You can't hear him. So we don't really know where that fine line really moves to. Either way, beyond that, Cloakzy unpunished. People have also wondered if he was willing to risk this because he has a YouTube contract in the works.
Yeah, and he was teasing that. He did a tweet the other day, like, showing Tim the Tap Man being like, this big bald guy's at a bar and he keeps talking to me about YouTube. Somebody help me.
I just think it's going to be either YouTube or Complexity, and I think they're making it really obvious by this point in time.
Yeah, I would agree. We thought the same thing for like Nick Merckx, but I think it's definitely, I think Complexity is almost a given.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got to, like, it's a final shout out, like leaving the video up while he's checking his text. Like, this is such a,
he doesn't
a
care
high IQ. This is clearly Cloakzy still the smartest turtle in streaming.
Yeah, this is Cloakzy and his exit from FaZe, you know, the famous tweet.
Yeah, oh no, whoops.
This is now him doing the same with Twitch. I freaking love it. So do you guys think he'll get banned? We probably, I don't think so. And until next time, we hope you guys all enjoyed the Razer recap. As per usual, drink some water, drink some coffee. Pete, I think we did a pretty good back and forth here.
Sure. Next time, we're just going to actually recap Razers. It'll just be like Gillette, Bic,
which
I've run out of razors. I don't know more razor brands.
I never need razors, so
that's true. That's 5 weeks without shaving for Jake.
Till next time, hope you guys all take care. We'll see you back here sometime soon. Okay, bye.